Danielle Smith tells it like it is, and boy, was it refreshing to see her come out of her skin. And this was an interesting moment in Canadian history. Ladies and gents, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Clyde. The subscribe button is just down there. Help yourself. And let's get into this news story. Now, there are some complaints about what Danielle Smith had said, and there's all kinds of arguments to talk about what separation and these kinds of things. We'll get into that. But let's get into first what she had to say there, because this is an interesting topic, the topic of sovereignty in another province here. Danielle Smith, Rise of Alberta, tweeting this out, saying Danielle Smith says it plain. $20 to $25 billion leaves Alberta annually, $600 billion lost in the last 50 years, $5,000 per person gone every year, gone. Your taxes are gone, all to buy votes in Quebec and Liberal provinces. Who for? Yeah, well, for the Liberals. That's right. Alberta Independence is the end of this theft. Here's what she had to say at a conference when she was asked a question.
Alberta, year after year, has $20 to $25 billion that is siphoned out of our system to go to Ottawa so that it can be spent mostly in Quebec, but also in other places that vote Liberal. We have been watching this for years. $600 billion in the last 40 or 50 years that have been taken out of this province. You don't think we might be able to do a little bit more on social spending if those $20 to $25 billion stayed here? You don't think we'd be able to cut taxes a bit if those $20 to $25 billion stayed here? It is $5,000 per Albertan that every single year gets transferred out of this province for political reasons so that the Liberals can continue to spend it in places that vote Liberal. That is what is happening in the province and in the country.
Thank you.
That is absolutely what's happening, and it's going to a bureaucratic monster that does nothing but use this to buy more votes to get more of that bureaucratic monster to grow and grow and grow, and the big largesse of the state becomes what it is, this monster that we just can't seem to get off our back here in Canada. Now, there's arguments against this. Max Fawcett, Alberta doesn't send any money to Ottawa because, again, it's not how it works. And if Alberta wanted to invest in schools, hospitals, and roads, we could use our fiscal capacity to do it with, say, a sales tax. Oh, we need more taxes. That's what's going on. Is that what's happening? Now, Twos, a good buddy of mine, 222 minutes on X. Go give him a follow. I'll leave a link in the description. Came in reply to this. Max Fawcett, for once in his life, is absolutely correct. Alberta doesn't send money directly to Quebec. It goes to Ottawa first, gets mixed in with the federal revenues, and the origin is obfuscated. In legal and financial circles, it's known as money laundering. That's right. They're money laundering, and then you get all the benefit over there, little buddy. That's what's been happening. And I'll tell you what, Albertans are tired of it. And this is why I've lent because I don't live in Alberta. I'm in British Columbia. I have plans to move to the United States, but this is a liberty movement. This is the idea of a liberation from a group of people in the world, in the Western world, that are subjugated and have been subjugated for some time. Marty up north illustrating this perfectly. Here's a visual of what Danielle Smith is saying in the video and what Twos is talking about there. So you've got Alberta giving out $6,000 in taxes, getting nothing back, zero benefits. And then over here, you've got $1,000 goes to corruption, waste, fraud, and for friends and family, the nepotism of the state. That's right. And here's Quebec over here giving about $4,000 in taxes because it seems they don't pay as many taxes as people out in other parts of the country. But hey, there's that $9,000 worth of benefits coming back to them as they, I don't know, sip on their wine and eat cheese curds. I don't know what they do over there. Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think they're doing with all that Alberta money. But this is the reality. And this has happened several times before. And this is a great article coming from the Western Standard. Alberta, the balkanization of Canada is an opportunity for Alberta sovereignty. What is the balkanization? What is balkanization? Well, this is a thing that occurred in Europe after the Second World War. There was a breakup of nations, and it led to benefits. There was a lot of benefits to not being part of this big conglomerate of states that were held together by a giant bureaucracy. Canada's Yugoslav moment is how a debt crisis could fuel Alberta's push for independence and growth. That's right. The collapse of Yugoslavia in the 1990s is often remembered as one of the great geopolitical disintegrations of the late 20th century. An empire of 6 republics and 2 autonomous regions that broke apart under the weight of debt, corruption, and suppressed ethnic rivalries. Yugoslavia appeared stable to the outside world right until it wasn't. The country was hailed as a model of socialist prosperity. Hey, have we heard something like that recently from anybody? Yeah, that's right. Canada is held up as that one of those models of socialist prosperity. Not doing so hot right these days. With free healthcare, jobs for all, and a booming economy, yet beneath the surface, its foundation rested on unstable borrowing. When the debt ran out, the federation quickly splintered into its national parts: Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Macedonia, Montenegro, and Serbia. What once seemed impossible became the inevitable. And then this article goes on to say, this is something that can happen, and shows the parallels to what's happening here in Canada. And we all see it. We all know it. But I'll leave a link in the description so you could read this article. It's a fantastic read. And it really puts it out in perspective of how this could possibly go, where this could fragment, and how this could be a very positive thing, actually. It doesn't need to be a negative thing. Sometimes the best thing for an abusive relationship is to end the relationship. That's usually the thing. And I've said it many, many times. You know, some of these provinces, they're bad in a union, but they'd be fantastic neighbors. I think that could be a definite thing. And it's not like it's something out of the blue and something that's never happened before. Rise of Alberta posting, nations split all the time. Norway left Sweden. Slovakia left Czechoslovakia. Ireland left the UK. History teaches us one truth: political unions dissolve, but nations endure. Alberta is a nation. Canada is just paperwork. And this just lends to what's going on. Even our sitting MPs in the federal government, Aaron Gunn pointing this out, our government is incompetent. That's right. And what is he commenting on? He's commenting on this article from the Vancouver Sun saying the Americans are selling the Canadian natural gas to Europe at a profit. Remember when Justin Trudeau said that there was no business case for sending natural gas to other countries, other regions, perhaps all the way over to the West Coast and then off to Asia, or all the way to the East Coast and off to Europe? Well, no, it turns out there is a business case. It's just not through us. We're just not, there needs to be a middleman in the middle here. That's where we go here. Let's get into it. Canada remains one of the world's largest LNG exporters, but 99.9% of that is sent to the United States via pipeline. That's right. And where does it end up? Well, we just found out recently. Amid growing criticisms that Canada dropped the ball on exporting its natural gas to Europe, the Polish ambassador to Canada said in a recent interview that plenty of Canadian gas is indeed finding its way to Europe, but via the United States at a markup. That's right. This is just embarrassing. It's embarrassing that we did this to ourselves. It's not like the United States has painted us into a corner and said, no. You can't build any pipelines within your own nation to get it to coastal waters. No, they watched us do this, and they're like, we'll happily be a middleman in this whole exchange because, well, guess what? It just works out better for us in the long run. But this is where we're at, folks. We're in a situation where Canada's economy is not doing so hot, thanks to, well, the actions of the federal government. Canada's capital flight crisis, record exits by foreign and domestic investors, is the news that we're reading. It's an everyday occurrence to watch our economy dwindle and just go absolutely to trash. Guess what's happening right now in the United States? Record industry, record economy. They're doing fantastically. Remember when they said that Donald Trump was going to ruin the economy? And then right after he became president, there was a sharp decline because everyone was scared. And then everything has bounced back and it's doing fantastically. That's what's really happening. But in Canada, not so much. In fact, that's probably where a lot of this capital is going. A lot of people are taking their investments, foreigners and Canadians alike, in Canada, and they're saying, you know what, to hell with this place. Our investments are not doing so hot. Let's get out of here, skedaddle, and bring that to the United States, where investment is actually welcome. It's friendly. It's a friendly environment down there. Mark Nixon pointing this out, breaking. This is catastrophic. The only employer adding jobs is the Canadian government. Canada is about to implode. Look at these statistics. All of these industries are laying people off, while the public sector and arts and recreation for the government is hiring. This is unsustainable. This is not something that we can continue. This is not something that we can watch happen over and over and over again. But this is the product of what the federal government has been bringing us. And let me tell you, Danielle Smith said it right when she said there really isn't much of a benefit to Alberta in doing all of this. There isn't much of a benefit at all for the federal government to turn around and only tell Albertans what to do in their private lives on top of all of that. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. We'll also be talking to you live tonight at 5:30 Pacific time. That's what is at 8:30 Eastern. Yeah, we've moved the show an hour earlier on the Friday live show, so tune in to that. We'll be live. Make sure the notification bell is rung. Go right to the main page where the live stream is scheduled and just hit the notify me mark on that on the lives tab. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this and all these things about Alberta sovereignty and the balkanization of Canada in the comment section down below. And we'll see you tonight. Keep on trucking.